Hey, here's the deal. If you don't live around here, you wouldn't know this, but I live on, it's called Happy Valley Road, and where the 303 meets. And I drive to this Peoria campus every day, and when I moved there 2 years ago, it was like a 13-minute drive. Not exaggerating. In the last, I think, month and a half, they've added 3 stoplights on that road, and I just want you to know that every single day I ask myself, like, do I still want to work here? Like, do I still want to drive through 3 extra stoplights I'm just so consistently mad every single morning driving here. And anyways, we're in a series about being angry, and I think that maybe this series is for me. I think that maybe I have more of a problem with this than maybe you have. And so this whole series, if you haven't been here, it's called Unoffendable. And the premise is, what if we as Christ followers rejected our right to be angry? Let me walk through it quickly for you. The definition of offended is the taking of offense. We love doing this and we're great at it. And it's the presumption, love that word, fun word to say, that I am entitled to be angry. That I'm allowed to do it. I'm allowed to be angry with other people. And what we're trying to talk about in this series is the reality is actually, no. You can choose to be unoffendable. You can choose to revoke your right to be angry, to give it up. We're not saying that you'll never be angry. We're all gonna have like moments where anger shows up. But the goal as a Jesus follower is to get rid of it as fast as you possibly can. And let me just say this, if you're new here at any of our campuses, like, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, and if you invited someone new, thank you for doing that. Thank you for inviting people. And we just have to say, if you're not normally here, like, we're glad you're here, and you don't need to be on board with what we're saying. Like, we want you to belong here. We want you to feel like there's a place for you here, but you don't have to be on board right away. And I think this series is a good example of, like, being angry isn't just a church people problem. We all suck at being angry. And the reality is being angry is a problem because, like, holding on to it, it's actually gonna kill you. When you go to groups, here's your homework, go to groups after this and type into ChatGPT or whatever internet browser you have and just say, hey, does holding on to anger cause problems? And what it's gonna do is it's gonna spit out a bunch of things. It's terrible for you physically, it's terrible for you like mentally, spiritually, it's terrible for your relationships. Holding on to anger is literally killing you. And it's more than just that, it's actually worthless. I think a lot of us convince ourselves that anger is what motivates us to do things. Ashley, it's kind of cool when we do this, but adults, if you go to the adult services doing the same series, which I always think is pretty cool, and Ashley talked about this idea that if you are someone who posts something that you're mad about online, that you're actually like 40% less likely to do something about it. Like, you think that being mad about something motivates you to solve problems, but in reality, it does nothing. It just tricks you into thinking you already did something. Oh, I'm mad about that thing, and I'm gonna do something. No, you're not. You're gonna do nothing. You're just gonna be mad. But the third thing, and this is for those of us that have been around for a while, and this is the heart of what this ministry does, is that when you're holding on to anger, you look nothing like Jesus. The whole point of our student ministry is to make Christ-centered difference makers. We want students who look like Jesus and then leave and go change the world. And when you're holding on to anger, when people look at your life, I can guarantee you that they're not seeing Jesus. They're seeing you. And we don't want to be in the way of other people being able to see Jesus in our life. And so what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna try to just be super practical and talk through ways that we can kind of fight back the anger that happens in our life and kind of give you a quick recap. The first week of the series, we talked about the number one thing you could do to help dispel anger in your life is work on forgiveness, letting things go. And then Dustin last week talked about the idea that if you're angry all the time, you may have like a content problem. Not necessarily content with what you watch or listen to, that for sure, but maybe the things that you're surrounding yourself with, are they helping you be more or less angry? The things you're consuming, are the friends around you encouraging you to be more or less angry? It's worth considering. But both of those weeks, I think, are kind of like internal issues. Like we got to work on that internally. This week, I want to think a little bit about like how can we be proactive? How can we fight back? Maybe not a great word, but how can we fight back against the anger that we're feeling? And so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to unpack for all of us. I think there's 3 different layers, 3 different levels of offenses. And I think all of us deal with the first 2 like in droves all the time. The third one we'll get to, like some of us, this is us. But not everybody has to be there. We're gonna live here, we're gonna talk about this. Full disclosure, I have an analogy I'm working with that I would say is like 40% baked. I'm not sure, so just like go with me here. I think it's gonna work, but just follow along. So level 1 offense. I call this level outside scorpions. So here's what I mean by this. We move to a new house, and sometimes at this new house, you see scorpions outside. And you're offended by the scorpion, but you have to say to yourself, this is your domain. You're allowed to live out here. It's the outside. This is for scorpions. I'm the new one here. And so an outside scorpion is an offense that you run into from time to time, but it's okay. This is like when I get offended when I'm driving in traffic. It's me being offended by the traffic lights. It's me being offended, all of you right now. We're at like, imagine you're in Walmart right now. Just go with me there. You're in Walmart or Target if you're like fancy. You're there and you see like, oh, high schooler over there. Maybe they're a cool person. And then like you're looking at them and they turn, and when they turn, their shirt is your school rival's shirt. And instantly you're like, that person sucks to be around. I hate that person's guts. I don't even know who they are, but I already think they suck because they're wearing a shirt of a school that I don't go to. And we're offended by it. We're frustrated by it. When we're in traffic, we're moving around. And I think the antidote to this first level is super practical. I think it's just this. I think you got to like assume good intentions. I don't really know why I went with the shot thing there. I was thinking like poison. Or like if you get stung, like antidote, work with me. All right, that's what I'm going for. It's not like drugs. That's not what I'm trying to say. Assume good intentions. Here's what I mean by this. Let's take the driving example, for instance. When you're driving, there's a me side and there's a them side. When you're driving and someone cuts you off, you think these things. You think rude. You think that person's a lame-o, probably is what you think. You think this person is a terrible person. You hate their guts. Have they ever driven before? Ever. And you hate everything about them. But when you drive and you cut people off, whoopsies. Whoa, sorry. Oh, didn't see you there. Didn't see you there. Oh, that was my turn. We do this thing where we're so instantly like, oh, well, it wasn't personal. But when someone else does it, it's instantly personal. And I wonder if when we're constantly offended, we're constantly angry by these small little annoyances in our life, I wonder if we worked like crazy to assume good intentions, to give grace away, if we would be able to instantly lower the anger in our life. I know this works for me. When you're driving and someone cuts you off and you're mad at them instantly, you go, oh, I've done that before. All right. Hey, everybody give it up for stagehand. Woo! As you give grace away, your level of anger will go down. Of course it'll happen. Paul says this, love is patient, it's kind. At the end of this, I love this, it always protects, trusts, and perseveres. If we want to look like Jesus, I think we have to fight like crazy to give grace away, to assume the best intentions of people. Here's right now while you're thinking, you're gonna go to group time and this is all you're gonna do. You're gonna think of examples of these type of offenses. Right now on your phone, pull your phone out. You're not supposed to do this, but whatever, pull your phone out. I want you to write down what you think is an example of a level 1 offense in your life. Some like little small thing that tends to like bug you consistently. Whether for you it's traffic or it's a person at school. What is that? And we'll talk about it in group. All right, level 2. So we got outside scorpion. Level 2 is I would call inside scorpion. When we moved to our house, we had an air conditioning problem, and we went away for a few months, and because the air conditioning was getting fixed, we stayed in our in-laws' house, and we came back, and I walked in the house, and we had like 4 or 5 dead scorpions on our living room floor. I'm thinking about these scorpions a little bit. They've invaded my domain. They're showing up in my life, and now I have to deal with them a little bit. And so I think this is this next layer of offense. It's not just random in traffic. This is the kid that you don't think about it all the time, but every Tuesday in math class, there's this one kid that sits over there. You know who I'm talking about. And it just seems like he's super argumentative. He's just disagreeable. He gets under your skin. It's the one dude at Chipotle. He usually works Wednesdays, and he like skimps on the beans every time you go. And you're like, come on, dude. And you see them consistently. It's the guy at the gym that's the loud talker. The only guy at the gym who's not wearing headphones. Get with the picture. We're all doing the headphone thing. Stop talking. And I think we want to move past these offenses. I think the reality is first, obviously, assume good intentions, but then I think choose kindness. And choosing kindness sucks. It's not what we want to do. I told a story 2 weeks ago about there was a dude at the gym that told me the score of the Packers game, and I was very frustrated by that. And this isn't always the case, but I was in that workout probably 45 minutes in, and I'm texting everybody that I know to just get them on my side to be mad. You done this before? We're like, I can't be crazy. They're crazy, and you're texting people. It's about 45 minutes in, and this guy's like still walking around, and I'm still mad. I'm still mad at this random guy at the gym. And I would not say this happens in my life a lot, but I feel like I had a moment where like, I gotta do something. Like, I don't know what's going on in this guy's life. And so I actually like got up from working out and I walked over to where he was. We were doing a lift like next to him. And I walked up and I go, hey, what's up? I'm Jake. And he goes, hey, I'm Chris. And we proceeded to have a normal human interaction. Man, we didn't talk about anything crazy. Talk about what gyms he works out at, like what lifts he likes to do. But what I can tell you happened is when I left that gym, I was no longer angry at Chris. And I think this is crazy how God works. That if you're the person to choose to be bigger and you're going to choose to go out of your way to be kind to someone, like as you choose kindness, I think your anger goes down. And it's hard. It's not what we want to do, but if we fight and lean into that, I think we can look more like Jesus. Paul says this in Ephesians, be kind and compassionate. Forgiving each other just as Christ forgave you. Who's in this second level for you? Who's the name of someone that you see a little more consistently and they bug you? It's the guy on your team. It's the coworker that you can't stand. Write down a name. Here's the third level of offense, and I'm gonna call this, for the sake of this, I'm gonna call this the mattress scorpion. We were at our house, and my son Bear, it was like 2 a.m. He comes into my house, or in my house. He's already in the house. We make him sleep outside. That's what we do with our kids. It's a pretty cool thing. And he comes into our bedroom and he goes, Dad, there's a bug in my bed. And I go, like every good dad, I go, there's not a bug in your bed. Go back to sleep. Dad, there's a bug in my bed. There's not a bug in your bed. Just go back to sleep. I'm exhausted. Dad, there's a bug in my bed. It bit me. And I go, ugh, like so annoyed. Come on, Bear. And I walk out and I go back. I'm like, turn the light on. Where's the bug in your bed? And he goes, it's in there somewhere. I go, no, it's not. And I pull back his covers and there's a scorpion this big on his mattress. I'm not normally a tough guy. I'm not. But in that moment, you can't scream. You want to scream, but if you scream, your kid will never sleep ever again for the rest of his life. And so I rallied, and I don't know, I probably didn't karate chop. In my brain, that's what I did. But I killed it. I killed this scorpion. Man, a mattress scorpion is gonna change your life, is what I'm telling you. A mattress scorpion is gonna change. I left him and I went back into my bed and I just stared at the ceiling for the rest of the night. We have to change everything we're doing when there's a mattress scorpion. Like we are burning the house down. Like this is an out of control, this is a DEFCON 9 type of problem. And here's what I think. I think for some of us, I don't think all of us are here, but I think some of us have a level 3 type of anger that we're holding on to. Like a type of anger that we think about every single second of every single day. It's the boyfriend or girlfriend that like ripped our heart out. It's the mom or the dad that looked at you and said, hey, like you don't matter to us. Like I'm leaving. It's the coach that says, hey, you're never gonna play for me. It's heavy, it's deep. It's tearing you apart. Because you can't get over it, you can't move past it, you're just so angry. And what's crazy about Jesus is Jesus consistently tells us to do things that don't make a lot of sense to us. And I'll level with you, I don't like it most of the time. I think sometimes I get in scripture and I'm like, can't wait to see what you're gonna say. And most of the time I read it, I'm like, dang, wish you didn't say that. Wish that wasn't what I was supposed to do. Here's what's crazy. Here's what Jesus calls us to. Here's what the Bible says. Like if you're holding on to there's like a deep pain there, not only can we choose good intentions and choose kindness, we actually need to break bread. And breaking bread is just a fancy way to say like share a meal with that person. Proverbs says it this way. It says, if your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. That's pretty countercultural. That's a little different than what I was hoping it was gonna say. Goes on to say this, in doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, which is a crazy way of saying that, hey, you choosing to take the high road here and be with them, like God's gonna find justice for you. And I think what's crazy about this concept is it requires tons of forgiveness on your end. You have to go into this conversation willing for it to maybe not go the way you want it to go. But here's what I want for us. I want some of us who have like a deep hurt that we're sitting on. I want some of us maybe this week to find a time to go share a meal with someone. And I'm just gonna give you something. Why would we even do this? Well, first off, like meeting with someone without food. Have you done this? Have you gone somewhere without food? It's weird. Don't do that. Like anywhere you go, like offer food, it's way better. If you start eating with someone, it 100 times will be better. And that's a silly one, we'll move past that. So the second one is this. I think by doing and going out of your way to buy a meal for someone, I think it's pretty humble. If you were to go to the person that you're frustrated by and say, hey, can I get you a coffee sometime? Hey, can we meet up after school? Can I talk to you about this thing? I'll buy you a drink. You willing to humble yourself enough to step into that space? You willing to maybe to pay some of your own money? I think that matters. But I think that the real value of the meal, it really comes to this, like it's time and it's closeness. From experience, I feel like when I'm angry with someone, the farther away from them I am, the easier it is to stay angry. And if you're frustrated with someone and you force yourself into their life and you try to ask them questions, trying to understand what they're going through, you may be surprised by the outcome. You may be surprised with the conversation and where it goes. And this is not easy. Like I'm not saying this is easy for anybody. You're gonna walk out of here and you got the name of someone you've just been mad at. And I'm telling you, walk out of here. I want sometime this week for you to set up a conversation with that person. That's scary. I just think it's what Jesus would do. One of the most convicting verses for me in the Bible is in Luke. And Jesus is up on the cross. After everybody has beaten him and like tortured him and murdering him, and he's up on the cross, and it says that he says, "Father, forgive them." If there was ever a moment for him to get even, to make it fair, that would have been the moment. And yet Jesus chose forgiveness. I bet if we were Christ followers who worked like crazy to live an unoffendable life, I think we may be surprised the amount of people we interact with that look at us and see Jesus. Let me pray for y'all. Heavenly Father, thank you for what you're doing. Lord, help us to be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to become angry. I just feel like there's students all over the valley right now that are just living a life that is just overwhelmed with anger. There's dudes in this space that like they're one like awkward interaction away from a fist fight every second of every day. And it's killing them. I pray that they're confident enough today to admit that they could use a little help. I pray that you give us as students the boldness to work like crazy to get rid of our anger. Pray that we realize the reality is as we assume the best in others, that we choose to be kind even when we don't want to, and as we fight to break bread with people, that those actions are so often equated with our anger moving down. We love you, Jesus, and we know that we can forgive because you first forgave us. Amen.